Well, hello, folks, and welcome to another Vitruvian book review. This one gets 2 thumbs up. I can't imagine actually reading a book that you're going to get a thumbs down on. The reason being is because I go to pretty great painstaking care to make sure that I'm not wasting my time on a book. But I have had a couple this year that weren't that great. The good news is this is not one of them. This is the Undefeated Marketing System by Phillip Stutts. So who is Phillip Stutts, you might ask? Well, I'm going to tell you. Phillip is the founder and CEO and best-selling author that plays the game of corporate and political marketing on the highest level, battling with fierce competition, multi-billion-dollar budgets, and a win-or-die mindset. He's worked with multiple Fortune 200 companies, contributed to more than 1,400 election victories, including 3 presidential wins, and made more than 350 national media appearances on outlets like ESPN, CBS, and CNN, and soon to be The Jason Wright Show. And I'm sure he'll update the book to reflect that, the back cover, to make sure that he notes that he's been on The Jason Wright Show. But he will be coming up in probably the second or third week of 2022. We've already recorded the interview. It was a fantastic one, so check that out. Phillip has been lauded by Fox Business as a marketing genius who has generated record sales for his clients. So the cool thing about Phillip, he started out in the political realm, like the description I just gave you, would suggest getting candidates elected. That's how he and I kind of knew of each other on the peripheral, because we both kind of swam in some political waters for a while. He much more successfully than I, because he actually figured out how to be really, really successful at it. Not so much with this guy. But I digress. Not only is he a marketing genius, but he's an incredible entrepreneur. When I talked to Phillip on the podcast, he really described some of the things that he's had to do to recalibrate, to kind of change direction, just like every entrepreneur does. So he's got a big brain on him. It's not just a marketing brain, but also a very entrepreneurial brain. And he's at the top of his game. In this book, the cool thing about it is, okay, I've said this on this review channel, or it's my actual just YouTube channel, but on this channel where I review these books, I've said it many times that when I read a book, I want it to have high utility value. Sometimes that utility is just pure entertainment. So obviously, if I'm reading some sort of fiction, I want it to be very entertaining. I want it to be captivating or something to that effect. When it comes to a business book, I want to be able to take lessons learned from the book and apply them immediately. I love chronological, step-by-step, do this, execute this well, and you will have success. And that's what the Undefeated Marketing System is really all about. Here's the key thing that Phillip does that I think everyone in marketing should grasp. He discusses the importance of starting with data in understanding your client and their customer. He makes the point that at the end of the day, the customer's wishes are always going to come first. So if you're a marketing firm and you're dealing with a client and you're sitting there beating your head against the wall going, just listen to me, do what I'm telling you to do what I'm telling you to do, you're going to be doing that very thing. You're going to be beating your head against the wall. So the importance of helping your client to understand their needs and understand your approach, thus gaining their trust, is what will help them gain their ultimate customers' trust. And Phillip really understands this. And so the fact that he started out with campaigns, I mean, look, here's how the political world works. Again, I said I've been in it for a long time, or I was, and whenever you're dealing with candidates, you're trying to market and sell a human being. It's a very, very difficult thing, because a human can be a great product one day and then make some very poor judgments and decisions that make them a terrible product the next day. You can also be trying to sell a product that is working against you in the sale of said product. Think of some recent presidential elections and you'll kind of get an idea of how a product that a lot of people wanted to sell, it became impossible to sell that product because of the product itself. Right? So, therefore, you have to be cognizant of this. And so, Phillip came up through that world of trying to sell these people their ideas and sell what they stood for, sell their policies. And now he's taken that into the world of corporate sales and corporate marketing, trying to sell products. He gives an account of a national pest control company that he helped, and he helped them understand where they were missing the mark so that they could correct course, and then how to get to their customers and speak to them about what was important to them. And he gives you step-by-step instructions on taking this through the 5 steps of here is how you market. And here's the thing he did too. And this is why I think it's very important. So I know when I was in business school and I was taking marketing classes, I was really blown away at the fact that we had to take statistics. That statistics was so important to the whole marketing process. Well, that is exactly what Phillip talks about, is you have to gather this data and statistically analyze it to truly figure out where you need to be for your customer. What do you need to do for your client? And that way you can really target your message, target your application, target everything down to the most minute detail to yield the greatest reward. And this book really covers that. I think anyone, let me slow down here for a minute. If you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a business, you're going to have to get your message out to the market. Read this book. Read this book. At least create some sort of discipline. Phillip talks about how he has made the mistake of veering off course from his own 5-point plan and paid for it by losing clients. And so when he came back and he maintained the discipline of sticking to these proven tactics that have worked, that's when he's continued his success. So if you're an entrepreneur and you are going to take a product or service to market, read this book. If you are thinking of running for city council, not just running for Congress or the Senate or state rep or whatever, if you're thinking of running for office at any level, school board, read this book. Understand your constituency. If you're in a marketing department and you're struggling, if you just want to stand out as a key player in the marketing department, read this book. I believe that this book should be mandatory reading in business school, in marketing classes, because it's practical. It's practical application. It's very well written. Phillip has done he's a good communicator, obviously. That's why he's so successful at marketing. And I think that it really comes through in this book, and why he has done so well is because a lot of it is just very straightforward. Let's see here. Here's just a little outtake. Once we knew which ones blew the others out of the water, those were the ones that we went all in for the launch. An ounce of, and then here's the reason I say that the Undefeated Marketing System is for the committed, not the interested. This is why I marked this. If you can see, I've got a ton of tabs here. There's a lot of great takeaways. Here's why I marked this particular place. By the time we got to the end of step 4, the pest control company that I mentioned earlier, client had spent $35,000 to $40,000 and they still hadn't launched their marketing campaign. Remember, this was an 8-figure company and they wanted to spend this money to get it right. That's a lot of money. But let's put it into perspective. Before this company realized that they needed to find out what their customers wanted, not just what they assumed their customers wanted, they had lost $2 million of market share and wasted $1.8 million in marketing costs. So I've advised a number of startups, both ones I've owned and others that belong to other people, where I just kind of came in to try to help bring some structure to an otherwise chaotic startup, which is very common. And one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs and startups deal with is marketing agencies. Just like Phillips, they will take all your money. If you tell them that you have $1 million to spend on marketing, then guess what? They will prepare a campaign for you that will be worth $999,000.99. And then you're going to go over. You're going to hit $1 million. So you have to be so cautious and understand who you're hiring. So here's another thing. The greatest takeaway that I have from business school, going back to my MBA days, I'm not a good student. Okay. I'm just not. And I'm not an academic. And if you ask me, would you go back to business school if you had to do all over again? Maybe. I don't know. But I can tell you this. I did have one takeaway from business school that was paramount in my business success. I learned not how to ask questions. I learned how to ask questions to gain the best answers. But more importantly, I learned what questions to ask. So if you're that entrepreneur, if you're that creator, if you're that maker, you've invented the next widget that's going to change lives around the world, but you've never done any form of marketing, and now you need to take a product to market, wouldn't it be wise to understand what questions you should be to ask a potential marketing firm who, again, is going to take as much money as you'll give them to execute? Wouldn't it make sense to know what questions to ask them to make sure that you're on the same page with them and that they have a chance of success? If you read this book, then maybe you're never going to be a marketer. Maybe that's not something that you're going to want to have to do. But if you have a service that you're offering, at some point you're going to have to figure out some form of marketing, even if it's guerrilla marketing where you're just making flyers and sticking them on telephone poles around town. You're going to have to do something to let people know you exist, and you're going to have to tell the story of what you do and why people need your product or service. So even if you're not going to be the one doing that, you need to understand what someone who is going to do that should be doing and how you can quantify their data. See, marketing is one of those things that it can be a pretty scientific endeavor. We don't think of marketing as a scientific application because it's, you do all these things and you hope that people come. And just because you execute perfectly doesn't mean that the customers are going to come. But if you use scientific inputs, meaning if you collect data and find correlations in behaviors, then it's quite remarkable. There's a reason why Mark Zuckerberg has to go before Congress so often. It's because they have figured out how to scientifically find out through artificial intelligence and behavior readings and all this data that's out there to nail down what you and I want to see. Some of you are looking at this video right now, not because you did a direct search, but it popped up in your feed simply because of past searches and behaviors that have been tracked over your entire who you are, and they're all talking to each other to find out little bits and pieces to collect answers or to ask questions and then deliver an answer. Say, maybe you're starting a company and maybe you are interested in this book. And so if we can tell you if we can point you to this book review, then maybe you'll stick around long enough to watch the next video, which you're even more interested in. That's how it works. So it's a great book. It's, again, has the utility value. I would definitely recommend it to anyone that has a product or service, or if you just, like, for example, I'm reading this with great attention because I have a book coming out next year, and I am going to apply this. I cannot afford to hire Phillip to market my book. Wish I could. That would be awesome, but I can't. Okay? Don't have the budget for that. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take a do-it-yourself approach. I'm going to at least give myself a head start by reading and understanding the principles of this book, gathering data so that whenever I do promote the book on through social media and other channels that I plan to, that I can hopefully target the right folks. Here's a great example. A lot of you that look at this, you might want to be an influencer, you might be a creator, and you're trying to figure out, how do I get people to look at my newsletter? And if you know you go to do an Instagram promotion, they're going to ask you, well, do you want us to pick for you, or do you want to choose yourself? Well, wouldn't it be nice if you could at least go figure out where to find the data to tell Instagram, the people that are most likely to read my newsletter, to listen to my podcast, to buy my book, to buy my cooking course, they are moms or dads that are of the age 35 to 42, that live in the Southeast region, close to the water. I mean, whatever the case may be, they have 2 incomes, they're educated. You find all these things so that you market to that group, and you take the parameters that you're allowed in social media when you do these promotions and this online advertising, to drill down to, okay, this is the cluster of people that I think I need to market to based on the data, as opposed to just doing a shotgun approach and hoping that the needle jumps out of the haystack and falls in your lap. So the Undefeated Marketing System will help get you on your way to that. And that's it. I hope that you buy this book if it's something that you need. I'm glad that I put it in the Vitruvian reading list for the year. Please, if you get a chance, or if you have any interest in it at all, if you just want to hear about from a good entrepreneur, and also if you want to hear about some good information on everything from potential election outcomes to COVID response, all these things, Phillip keeps data on all of this. The man keeps a treasure trove of data on human behavior. And we talk about that in the Jason Wright Show. So look for that episode coming up. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. JasonWrightNow.com is my personal website, where you can go sign up for the Vitruvian Letter, my personal newsletter, which as soon as I finish this, I'm going to wrap up this week's. It's just a quick little repository of the things that I'm studying based on nutrition, mindfulness, neuroscience. I put in there, like, if I've seen some random obscure movie that probably didn't get a lot of attention, but had it, for some reason, it really grabbed me, either based on the story or I learned something. If it's a documentary, I share that. So that's the Vitruvian Letter, my newsletter that I really like. And it's kind of shocked me. It's good. I mean, I think it's decent. It's stuff I'm interested in, but the feedback on it has been really positive. It has an incredibly high open rate from subscribers. So apparently there's something that I'm looking at and studying and just putting out there that is beneficial. And that's the whole idea. So this whole idea, my motto, improve always and always, that's all the Vitruvian Letter is. It's kind of a little repository of things that I'm doing in my endeavor to improve always and always. And if you want to know why that is, it's not just for some self-gratification or so that I'll look good naked and all that. I firmly believe that if all of us endeavor to be the absolute best version of ourselves that we can possibly be, that our neighbor will benefit. Us being really, really happy, content, and high performing will hopefully inspire others to do the same. It'll just start this incredible cycle of everyone performing at their best. And so that's the whole idea. So thank you so much for joining this review, or looking at this review. And if you would, please subscribe to the channel. Please leave some comments. Even if you say, Jason, you're a moron, please don't ever do a book review. If you'll just engage, it will get the algorithms going. So please, if you watch this, just leave a comment that says, go Jason, good job, you suck, whatever. Be nice. I would rather the nice comments, but either way, please leave a review and please subscribe, or leave a comment and subscribe. And that's it. I hope you have a great day. I'm out.